Reddit story compilation. Sit back and enjoy.
Ate for telling my wife my childhood friend will never forgive her for what she did? My wife, 32F, and I, 34M, have been married for 6 years, together for 10. We have a 4-year-old son. A few years ago, my close childhood friend, 34F, got married. We've been extremely close since we were kids. Both our families were dysfunctional in different ways. At one point, my dad cheated on my mom with her mom. They got married, divorced a year later, and we basically ended up abandoned by both sides. Through all that, we became really close with each other. She even has 2 tattoos that relate to our bond. I would have gotten a tattoo too, but I'm sort of scared of needles. My wife was actually close to my friend too, and never showed signs of being insecure about our friendship until postpartum hit. After our son was born, she really struggled. Her emotions were all over the place, and she became extremely insecure about my relationship with my friend. I was supposed to be man of honor at my friend's wedding, help plan things, and be a big part of the ceremony. But my wife was so anxious and uncomfortable, she begged me not to attend. It made me really sad, but I chose my wife. I told my friend I couldn't go and told her why. She was really hurt by it. Not angry, just really sad, but said she understood. A couple months later, my wife fully recovered and apologized, both to me and to my friend. I forgave her. My friend, however, didn't. When my wife reached out to my friend to apologize, my friend was polite but direct. She said she never wanted to speak to her again. She didn't yell or make a scene. She just drew a boundary. Honestly, I get it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime day, and she'd leaned on me for years, and I bailed. I still feel guilty about it. My friend and I still talk regularly. Nothing inappropriate, we're just close, always have been. Recently, my wife asked if there was any chance my friend would forgive her. I told her the truth. No. That ship sailed. My wife got sort of quiet and looked sad and hasn't brought it up again. But I wonder if I was too blunt. Ita for not giving my wife hope and just telling her forgiveness probably isn't happening?
AITA for refusing to let my roommate's girlfriend move into our apartment without paying rent. So, I am 25 years old and live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate, Jake, 26. We've been friends since college and split rent, utilities, and chores evenly. Our lease is month to month, and we've always had bills get paid, place stays clean, no drama. About 2 months ago, Jake started dating Sarah. She is 24, and she's been spending a lot of time at our place. Like, a lot. She's here 5 to 6 nights a week, uses our kitchen, bathroom, Netflix, you name it. I didn't mind at first because she's nice enough, and I figured it was just the honeymoon phase. Last week, Jake sat me down and said Sarah's lease is ending soon, and he wants her to move in with us. I was caught off guard but asked how we'd handle rent and bills. He said Sarah's between jobs and can't afford to chip in right now, but she'd help out with chores, really. I pointed out that we already split chores evenly, and adding a third person means more mess, more utilities, and more strain on our small space. I suggested Sarah pay a third of the rent and utilities once she's employed, but Jake got defensive and said I was being petty and unsupportive. He argued that since she's his girlfriend, it's not like she's a stranger, and I should be cool with it because we're all friends here. Here's my side. I get that Sarah's in a tough spot, and I don't want to seem heartless. I've been unemployed before, and it sucks. But our apartment is tiny, shared bathroom, small kitchen, thin walls. Having a third person full-time would change the vibe, and I don't think it's fair for me to subsidize her living here. I pay $800 per month for my half of the rent, plus utilities, and I budget carefully. If Sarah moves in without contributing, I'm essentially covering part of her costs, which doesn't sit right with me. I also feel like Jake's dismissing my concerns by framing it as me being unfriendly rather than practical. Jake sighed. As he explained it, he says Sarah's only temporarily jobless and will make it up later. He thinks I'm overreacting because she's not some random tenant but his girlfriend, and I should trust she won't mooch forever. He also said I'm making a big deal out of nothing since she's already here most of the time anyway. He pointed out that she's cooked dinner for us a couple of times, so she's contributing in her own way. The conversation ended with Jake saying I'm being unreasonable and that I'm making Sarah feel unwelcome. Now things are tense, and Sarah's been avoiding me when she's over. I don't want to ruin my friendship with Jake, but I also don't think I should have to pay for someone else to live here. AITA for putting my foot down.
ITA for politely declining to lead a prayer at the request of my new GF's father. I, 30M, and my recently serious GF, 29, went to our first out-of-state visit to her parents. We were both very excited, and generally speaking, I was on good speaking terms with them. We spoke on video chat a few times, and they seemed very nice. This is America. We live in Chicago, and they live in smaller town in Midwest. We both definitely came from different backgrounds. My parents were academics, and religion was just never a thing we participated in. We discussed it, obviously. But we were all some form of atheist or agnostic, but I was raised to be very respectful of others' beliefs. My GF did mention her parents were religious, but she is basically lapsed and doesn't go to church or pray, just Christian in name as far as I can tell. So, to the event, everything was going great, honestly. I had a great rapport with both of her parents, lots of laughs and good storytelling. We finally have a really nice sit-down dinner her mom made, which was delicious, but her dad, and I completely understand that he was trying to be nice and offer me what he understood to be a show of respect, asked me to lead prayer before dinner. I kind of just stuttered in place as I didn't expect it, but finally got my thoughts together and replied, "Mr. Jeff the Killer Shark's GF's dad, I appreciate the sentiment and I thank you for it, but I believe it be disingenuous of me to lead a prayer in a faith I don't genuinely hold, and I'd hate to disrespect your beliefs. Again, thank you, and I mean no disrespect." Disrespect was definitely taken by both her parents, and the night basically derailed spectacularly from that point on. They were polite, but totally shut down, and the mood shift was palpable. Since then, my GF siblings have been commenting about it on social media and basically calling me an a-hole, and saying I should have just faked it and done it. So guys, am I the a-hole? Should I have just done the prayer?
Ada for refusing to punish my daughter after she blew up on the class clown that she didn't want at her birthday party. My daughter is 13 and attends a small school. Her grade only has 18 students, 10 boys and 8 girls. She also has other friends from the sports she plays. We plan for her to attend a much larger high school in the future. Her 13th birthday party was last weekend. When I asked who she wanted to invite, she chose 7 of the girls from her class and 5 from her soccer team. The one girl she didn't want to invite was named Kelly. My daughter doesn't like Kelly. She's the class clown, and my daughter finds her annoying and attention-seeking. I asked her why she didn't want Kelly there, and she said, "She ruins school for me all the time. I don't want her to ruin my birthday." I agreed with her list and sent out the invites. My ex-wife is invited to all major milestones instead of us doing separate events. About an hour before the party, I found out my ex-wife had sent an invite to Kelly after her mom heard about the party. My daughter was not happy to see her. It was a surprise. And I told her to just enjoy the party. It was going well until the cake came out. My daughter wanted a glitter cake. When you blow out the candles, glitter goes everywhere. While everyone was gathered around the cake, Kelly stuck her fingers into the top layer and swiped some of the icing. It ruined the cake, and my daughter lost it. She yelled at Kelly saying, "What is wrong with you? This is why I didn't want you here. You ruin everything." Then she ran to her room in tears, and Kelly started crying too. Kelly's parent is now demanding an apology, and my ex-wife wants our daughter to apologize as well. I'm refusing to make her do that or punish her. I pointed out that my ex never should have invited Kelly, and I told Kelly's mom that her child ruined the cake, and that at 12 years old she should know better. Now they're calling me an A, and my daughter's just upset. What should I do? Should I make my daughter apologize and forget about this whole situation?
How do I talk to my boyfriend about feeling like I'm dating a grown child without totally blowing up the relationship? I, 24F, have been with my boyfriend, 26M, for almost 2 years. We moved in together last fall, mostly because his lease ended and I had the space. At first it was fun. Late-night snacks, watching dumb shows, waking up next to each other. But lately, it just feels like I've adopted a very large, very lazy teenage son. He doesn't clean, like at all. Dishes pile up until I do them. Trash gets full and he'll just keep cramming stuff in until I take it out. I asked him to vacuum once and he legit said, "I didn't notice it was dirty." Dude, we have a white rug and a black cat. It's noticeable. On top of that, he's currently unemployed, laid off a few months ago. But instead of job hunting, he spends most of the day gaming and waiting for the right opportunity. I've tried to be supportive, and I know job stuff is hard and demoralizing, but I also work full-time, cook most of our meals, and pay more than half the bills. He hasn't offered to pick up extra chores while he's home all day, and I'm starting to feel seriously resentful. Anytime I bring it up, he either jokes it off or gets defensive. He'll say stuff like, "I'm not trying to mooch off you," or "You're acting like I'm a burden," but that's kind of how I feel. I still love him, but I'm starting to lose respect. I don't want to nag or parent him, but I also don't want to spend my 20s cleaning up after a man who treats me like a backup plan. Has anyone been through something like this? How do I have this conversation without it turning into a fight? Is it possible to fix this, or am I wasting my time? Any honest advice would be appreciated.
Thank you so much for listening. I will post the full Reddit story, so make sure to like and subscribe.